name is Tal Erez. I'm a designer and a curator. For the last 6 years, I'm the chief curator of Jerusalem Design Week. And I have been working on exhibitions for the entirety of my career on different aspects. And now hard at work at this coming edition of Jerusalem Design Week.
My name is Ran. I'm an urban planner. A company in Israel who deals with the strategic planning, urban planning. We specified in the cultural centers.
I would say that 6 years ago when Ran invited Anat Safran, who couldn't join us today, is the artistic director of the event, and myself, we are kind of the content team of Jerusalem Design Week, to do this event. So it was in a turning point where it wanted to become an international event and rather than local one. It got a lot more budget, so it could grow. And we immediately tried to ask ourselves what is unique about this event, because it's not really a design week. I mean, it's a week, it's about design, and it's in Jerusalem, that's all true, but it's not a commercial platform event, but it's a very curated event that happens in one venue. Our kind of internal joke was that whereas Israel is always 10 years behind in fashion, it's always 10 years ahead in conflict. So we said, this is our raw material here, this is what we can use. And conflict sounds bad, but it's also the kind of a social dynamic we feel that design is inherent to. Kind of the moment where you don't look at design as, let's say, a luxury, but you look at it as the motor that runs the way people communicate.
Thing that you hear in the news, and it makes it like a city that maybe artists and designer are a little bit more creative, I think, than Tel Aviv or other places, because we are always on the edge of something, waiting for something to happen, and so we are on alert. It makes it very creative and very, I think, it makes Hansen House and the event like a representative of the cutting edge of design, art, and culture. We work a lot with all kinds of communities in the city. Of course, the community that's around us, but not only. We have a lot of students in Jerusalem. We're working with the Arab community. Actually, we have a collaboration in the design with Paley House, which is a cultural center in East Jerusalem of Palestinians. That we also are the strategic manager of this project, so we are collaborating with them. We have collaboration with the Orthodox Jews Gallery that is participating in the Design Week in a very Orthodox religious neighborhood. So we're really trying to get to all kinds of audiences, and also we are really, I think we have like more than 45,000 people who are coming to the Design Week, and it's the biggest cultural event which is open to the public in Israel. So we have all kinds of audience. We have families, children, Arabs, Jews, religious, non-religious, tourists from all over Israel and from the world. So it's very exciting for us.
You said it's the beauty of now, but it's also the inevitability of now. And we learned quite a lot during COVID that you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I think it was kind of a marker for something that goes on for a long time. So I think the way it's sectioned in Design Week is that we have projects that deal with the way the future is, let's say, appropriated by different agendas. Like, will we live on Mars in 20 years? Elon Musk wants us to. Will we drown in a huge ecological disaster? Will we eat insects because we will lack protein because of ecological issues, etc., etc., etc. Can we even predict what's going to happen tomorrow? So that's one thing that we addressed. And the other thing is the past, which is renegotiated constantly. And we have a terrific exhibition done with the Antiquity Authority of Israel that asks how do we build this story of what happened? And it's always related to what we found. So there's a lot of things we haven't found, so maybe the story is different.
This year we are dealing with the young designer, or dealing with the people, elderly people that are dealing with craft, and not commercial, but people over 80 with the designer 20 something that they are matched together for 6 months working together. So it's a very unique process. And each year we have all the results and all the objects that they are doing together. This year it's the elderly and young, and we had it like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. We did with Palestinian businesses in East Jerusalem. So we have all kinds of concepts for the matchmaker. And also it's very impressive and very unique that you see the two generations which are so far away, and the results that becomes very, very unique. And we'll have it. It's like one of our most important, I think, exhibition, and everybody, the audience is waiting every year to see what's going to be with the matchmaker.
Design is ephemeral. It was always ephemeral. And that's a lot of the criticism it takes, this idea of discarding stuff, etc. But we felt that if we incorporate time of production, time of use, and time of decay into the design brief, we will get interesting results. And we have a lot of results that deal with objects that live in a certain loop, that kind of decay and rebuild themselves, that transform during time, that are ephemeral by nature. Like we have an architecture of smoke, one project. We have tableware made out of flour and bread that kind of discard and go back to the earth. And we have growing vases and growing carpets. We have a lot of perspectives on this idea of ephemerality in terms of the project as a time-based product. The 5-minute workout, the 7-minute meditation, this kind of efficiency, and it's a terrific exhibition that deals with the moments that we can't control, where something is loading, when we have to wait in line, when we kind of space out during scrolling or stuff like that. All those unknown moments of time and lingering. So that is kind of the scope of perspectives with a lot of projects in it. I think now is really a huge question. It's way beyond design. We have really an issue with the future and an issue with the past. And I think the best thing we can do is ask the question, take the responses and lay them out in a way where there's meaning to something next to something, that you get, let's say, a sum that's bigger, or a result that's bigger than the sum of its parts. And I think, as you mentioned, interesting example. So, for example, the Tarot machine, which is an NFT algorithmic project, that is in many ways very beautiful and interesting in a graphic sense. The Ophir, who is the designer, also really believes in the meaning of it, like in the randomality of the future.
Tal is mentioning a principle of the design week, and we have few of them, which are the main principle, the main basic principle of the event or the festival is, first of all, it's free. It's free entering. Everybody can come. It's as I said, a lot of audience and very mixed one. All the designers are getting paid. They're not asking for money for designer to participate. We're giving money for designers to participate, and it's not common in design weeks, as you know. Almost all of the works, like 90% of the works, are creating especially for the design week. The designer are doing it especially for the design week, and it's very important for us. And another principle is that the audience is part of the event. It's not like an exhibition in a museum. It's very lively. It's like in every work you can join or do something or be part of it, and it makes the audience that are not connected so much to cultural events or to design very participant, very and coming here. Yeah.
We never really had to work hard, for example, to get different genders to participate. We work with an open call. We pick the best works, and we're lucky enough that the results are diverse enough that the best works are diverse enough. I will say we would be happy if we could involve more Palestinian designers. Always, it's not as easy as it might seem, but we work hard on it, and I think we are gradually getting more successful, both with collaborating with the Eastern Jerusalem organizations or cultural centers, like Ran mentioned, the Paley House, and also working with specific designers, which was to bring great work together and show it, and not deal with the politics around it. Of course there is, but it didn't become the focus at any time.
It's also an opportunity to say, I forgot another very important principle of the design, which is we are not using private money. We're not getting funded by private companies, even though we are, because it's a very big event with a lot of people and a lot of media, we have all kinds of suggestions, but we stay uncommercial.
Of terrific people that work. First, of course, I have to thank Anat, who is where I'm working with, but all the team at Hansen House, and Ran, of course, and the Jerusalem Development Authority and the Ministry of Jerusalem and Heritage that finance us, but also 160 designers, creatives, people who give their heart to make this 7 days happen. And it's always a little corny, but it really is the fuel that generates this event, because people wouldn't care, then it wouldn't be nice. So that's one of our goals also, is to create this kind of community around the Israeli design. And I hope in our term of 6 years that we succeeded, and I hope it will grow and continue.
In terms of economics, I think there are a few things that are happening. First of all, we work a lot with local businesses. We try that the budget will stay all in Jerusalem. It's not so easy, but we do the best we can. Try to work with a lot of designers who are from Jerusalem, of course. And as I said, we have all kinds of projects like the Matchmaker are working with local businesses. Second, I think we have a lot of tourism. In COVID, it was like tourism was for Israelis, of course, but we're starting to getting a lot of guests from out of Israel, so it's very important for the local economy in Jerusalem.
The opportunity here is not to measure design by its economic success, by its social success, because it relates to both equally. The key project that works with local artisans is the Matchmaker that Ran mentioned before. It's always interesting to make we always say that the products are beautiful with the Matchmaker, but the process is more. Because this meeting with some people who do the same type of work for many, many years, that unfortunately a lot of it is no longer needed in economic terms, because it could be produced cheaper somewhere else. And with young designers who have great ideas, but usually don't have the skills of production. And when this click happens, and it happens because I also have to mention that the artistic director of this project, Daniel Nachmias, is doing a fantastic and very, very personal work, both with the designers and with the craftspeople. And when this click happens, it's amazing because suddenly you have this unique skill, really delicate and intricate skill that is being mated with the ideas and the open-mindedness of a young designer. It's not really an exhibition, it's not really an event, it's something on the spectrum in between. So we really are interested in everything that formulates new, and we feel that things or this new perspectives, a good way to examine them is to kind of breed together different things, different disciplines, different edges of design. And also I mean, if you would measure this design with being smart and efficient, then we are bad designers, because it's a hard work to do it every year, to do 80% new work, to do these mixes of disciplines, to work with new people every time. We do a lot of matchmaking ourselves, so we do a lot of, hey, you work with this guy, and we think there's going to be a click. So it's very intense and very difficult, and we never see what it is until the day we open.
And it was like a brave test for us to go inside. It was a very skillful place with a lot of stories. So the first time was when I was 14. I went inside and ran out, and then the second time was 2009. After the leper colony was closed in 2001. Actually, it's not so long ago. And then a very important house for conservation in Jerusalem. It was like a leper colony, kind of a hospital, and it's also gives us an opportunity to do the event in one of the most unique places in Israel. But still, it's a very, I think it's a big challenge for us, mainly for Tal and Anat, to put all the works in a very strict building with a lot of regulation of conservation. So people that were staying in this place was cutting from their families, and mothers were talking to their children from the window above the wall. So we wanted to do something that is very controversial to the history of the place, something unique, something with technology, with design, with art, and it worked.
The only thing that we really have to do no work at all about is having Jerusalem and Israel inside the works, because this is where people live, and this is the education they get, this is the context they get. So this is inherent, especially in a building like this Ron mentioned. When people go to Jerusalem, when people from Tel Aviv go to Jerusalem, it's like they go on vacation, because it's a very different city. And when people go into the walls of the Hansen House, which maybe was once, I didn't grow up in Jerusalem, but which was, I guess, once a very scary place, but now it's a magical garden. It's like going to a palazzo in Milan. It's different in architecture style, but this feeling that you go into a place that suddenly is a kingdom of its own is fantastic. And when people go in and place the work there, it's already within this context. So this is the one thing that we need to not deal with. This week is clearly in it, and all the rest is the work.